побачення з коханим я піду, і цілий вітер вродло молоду, а душа, як вишня у саду, дівочий квіт. Знов побачу я весну в очах твоїх, знов побачу я любов в очах твоїх, буде щастя знов в очах твоїх, ти коханий мій. Веселка встає на Дніпро, а чайка привітна змахнула крилом, а лагідна хвиля казку снує, серце чарує моє, на побачення з коханим я піду, і цілий вітер вродло молоду, а душа, як вишня у саду, дівочий квіт.
Аплодисменты!
Знаю багато
Веселее!
я знаю, кохання не зрадить мене, та хай же до віку серце щемить, як не повторну цю мить, на побачення з коханим я піду, і цілий вітер вродло молоду, а душа, як вишня у саду, дівочий квіт. Знов побачу я весну в очах твоїх, знов побачу я любов в очах твоїх, буде щастя знов в очах твоїх, ти коханий, ти коханий, ти коханий мій.
Бурные аплодисменты!
Як я люблю тебе, розкажу тобі вечори голубі про мою любов. Як я люблю тебе, у ті ночі журби по знайомі кроки, все блукаю знов. Як я люблю тебе, хай розкаже моя терпелива душа, ти ж у нім весь. Як я люблю тебе, а кохання твоє полохливе пташа полетіло десь. Як ми
Поддерживайте аплодисментами.
Моя тривожний дім, шукаю Богородиці. Як я люблю тебе, як я люблю тебе, як я люблю тебе.
Ансамбль чарівниці!
Аплодисменты, бурные аплодисменты.
Только чтобы мой звук был нормальный. Чтобы он not be like достаточно. Hello everybody, Sunday Adelaja here from Kyiv, Ukraine. Good day, good day, good day. Well, we are back with the series that we just started, and it is the series on the Bible. How to know God through the Bible. How to know God through the Bible. Amazing, amazing topic. How to know God through the Bible. It's not enough for us just to be religious. It's not enough for us just to believe in God. But we must also be intellectually prepared to be able to defend our faith. And one of the ways to do that is to be able to understand the origin of the Bible and why it is reliable, why it is credible. So today, yesterday I spoke about the New Testament, how to study the New Testament. Today I'm going to be talking about how to study the Old Testament. Please go and call on your friends and family members, share the message, tag as many people as possible, and here we go, how to study the Old Testament. Okay, like I said, we are going to be going directly into the teachings, no formalities, and no ceremonies. All right, and we are going to make it as short as possible so that people at home will be able to watch it. People who don't have the data, and Elizabeth gives you a good. So here we go. So let's move on now to the Old Testament. The Old Testament is compiled in the order for convenience, but not chronology. You can read it by groups to make things easier. So that means if you are going to be studying the Bible, the Old Testament, either by yourself, but it might even be better to study the Old Testament with somebody else, because Old Testament is much more complex, and you might need to be able to discuss it with one or two people. There are 929 chapters in the Old Testament. If you read 3 chapters per day, you will have read the whole Old Testament in 10 months. But that's if you read 3 chapters a day. And some of those chapters in the Old Testament are quite long. So for you to really read the Old Testament in a year, you have to, or to read the whole Bible in a year, you have to read like 5 chapters a day. And but I personally don't advise people to do that, because it will only be as if you are just targeting the record. You just want to break the record. You just want to read as much as possible, but you don't really assimilate as much. So what I normally do is to read as little as possible, but for you to understand what you are reading and for you to allow the Holy Spirit to speak to you. So let's give you my own advice on how to read the Old Testament and where to begin. Like I said, we are not going to begin we are not going to do it in chronological order. So the advice I'm going to give you on how to read the Old Testament is not going to be by chronology, the way it is written in the Bible, right? But I'm just going to give you in an order that will be more convenient for you, and so that you'll be able to capture the whole picture of what is happening in the Old Testament. You'll be able to get, because the way it is in chronology in the Bible, the stories are not one after the other. They are not always following. One story, something might happen here, and for the continuation might be in another book. and something might happen here. The continuation might be in 2 other chapters. So, but with the way I'm going to be giving you advice to study the Old Testament will be in a way that it will make you to be able to capture the picture better. So, so let's start. If you want to study the Old Testament, my advice for you is to start from Genesis. That's the story of creation and the early relationship of God with man. After studying Genesis, it's better for you to move there onto the Exodus, which is actually the next one chronologically. So you can then take Exodus and read right through to Deuteronomy. That is the part of the Old Testament that's talking about the law. Then, after you finish the law aspect, you finish in Deuteronomy, then you might want to read the history books. So the first part is law, the second part is history. So which is reading from the book of Joshua to Esther. Reading from the book of Joshua to Esther. After you finish that, then you might want to go to the wisdom and poetry books. And you know the wisdom and poetry books. The wisdom and poetry books, which is Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Songs of Solomon, all those ones. Then from there you want to read the book of Job. Many people, the Bible scholars, believe that the book of Job is the oldest book in the Bible entirely. So you want to read that after that. Then in the book of Job, you see how one man's relationship with God and man went, and it's full of lessons on how it could have gone better. Well, it's full of lessons, not just on how our relationship could be better, but on how to survive our daily lives, on some of the realities of life that we all face and we could all face. Challenges, how to deal with challenges, how to deal with trials, tribulations, and to know that we have an enemy out there. We have Satan that is out there to get us. And that sometimes God will allow Satan to tempt us and to try us, and then God will come through eventually. So it's a great story, and it's a great lesson on what God expects from man, that He expects us to be steadfast, to be faithful in our faith, no matter what we're going through. So after finishing Job, you might want to go to the book of Psalms, which is the longest book, the book of Psalms. The Psalms is the writings of a king of Israel, King David. You all know him there, who was a man after God's own heart, despite the fact that he was not only a sinner, but a convicted killer. So, not perfect in behavior, and there is a reason why God allowed that to happen. Why God put David in the Bible and He made him the person. He called him the person after His own heart, and He still used him more than He used other people, despite the fact that he was fallible. But one thing with David was that he was always sincere, even though he was just an ordinary human being. He was fallible, he was sinful, and he made some horrible mistakes, but God is trying to teach us a lesson that He's not looking for perfect people, that He's looking for perfect hearts. And that's why He's a man after God's heart. He had a perfect heart. His heart for God was impeccable, but his behaviors don't always follow, and it's going to be the same thing with all of us. All of us are going to have issues sometimes in life, and there's no human being that doesn't have issues in life. But God is seeing your heart. And if you are sincere, if you are real, if you are pure in your heart, that is what qualifies you to stand before God. In the sense that God only looks at the heart, not necessarily what somebody does. So that's the lesson we see in David. After you finish the Psalms, then you want to go to the Song of Solomon. Okay, that's not one of the wisdom books. That's not one of the poetry books. But you could read it either as one of the poetry books, or you could read it after Psalms. The Song of Solomon also. Sorry, guys. don't put it back there. Put it in a place where it will not fall again. You just made a mistake and you want to put it in a place where, remove the wire so that somebody doesn't come and. The Song of Solomon, also known as the Song of Songs, was written by King Solomon in his youth. It was a work of poetry by a young man in love. King Solomon was the wisest and wealthiest man that ever lived. Okay, so this is now breaking down the poetry books. So it is actually the poetry books. So yeah, the idea is that when you start reading the poetry books, you start with the Song of Solomon, then you read the Proverbs. The Proverbs was King Solomon's. Proverbs was King Solomon's writings as an adult. So it started with King Solomon's writing when he was a youth. Now when he's an adult, when he was king of Israel and was learning his hard lessons. So after that, read the book of Ecclesiastes. Read the book, not all book. Read the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes was King Solomon's lamentations of a man who had spent his life on riotous living, many wives, concubines, wine, women, and sons. Somebody who lived for the vanities of life, who try to live by the philosophy that people say, take the best from life or take everything that life can offer you. So, but you know the end of that story, because after all that, he came to the conclusion that everything is vanity. To live by that philosophy of take everything that the life can offer you will lead you to vanity. So Ecclesiastes is a book of lessons of what not to do in life. After you finish that, reading through the Old Testament, then go to 5 major prophets. Because we have the big prophets in the Old Testament and the minor prophets. So the major prophets are the big prophets. And they are Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel. Move them from, after you finish those one, then go to the minor prophets. If with the major prophets you have only 5, with the minor ones you have 12. So you have to, after the major ones, you go to the minor prophets. That is how you finish the Old Testament. But let's go again to see how we start again. So the Old Testament, for your convenience, I'm advising you to read 3 chapters a day. If you want to just go through the Bible and read it through. So we advise you to start with Genesis, then read from Exodus to Deuteronomy, then from there you read the book of Joshua right through to Esther. So you go from, that is the history books, from Joshua to Esther. Then you go and read the books, books of wisdom. So you could read the book of wisdom. This is another option here. You could read those books of wisdom, including Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Psalms, and Songs of Solomon. You could read all that before you get to the book of Job, or you could read the book of Job after the history books. You can either read the book of the wisdom books, or you could read the book of Job, and then before you move on to Psalms and the wisdom books. Then you could either do Job's before the poetry books, or you could read the poetry books before you go to Job. The poetry books are Psalms, Songs of Solomon, Proverbs, then Ecclesiastes. So it is after you finish with those books, the poetry books, then you are advised to go and read the prophets. You start with the major prophets, which are 5: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel. Then you move to minor prophets, and those are 12 of them. That is what ends the Old Testament. But I already told you how to read the New Testament. Yesterday we did the New Testament. So these are just recommendations. And but I will still be going to to unveil to you different topics about the Bible, how to study the Bible, how to understand the Bible, why the Bible is credible. We have studied a lot of that. We have gone through a lot of that this whole week or 2 weeks that we have been on. And we are going to go closer now to how to study the Bible. Then later on, the last part of it will be how to apply the Bible to yourself on a daily basis. So I would like you to go and share this message with your friends and family members. Share. Let's go share the message. And also, if you have not yet joined the mentorship program, go and to my blog, sundayadelajablog.com/mentorship, sundayadelajablog.com/mentorship. You'll be able to join the mentorship, which is free of charge. You don't need to pay for it. And then after that, you might want to also go and send us your telephone numbers or the telephone numbers of your friends and family members who want to receive our messages on WhatsApp. If you want to receive our messages on WhatsApp, or you'd have people at home or in different places who you recommend to receive, to be getting our messages, send the numbers to us, send all the WhatsApp numbers to us, and we commit to be sending these messages to them in a concise and compressed way, short ones, so that they will not need to spend a lot of data on them. For those of you who want to visit us in the Ukraine, who want to come for HMT Streetmakers Training, write to hmt@godembassy.org, hmt@godembassy.org, hmt@godembassy.org. So we'll be happy to have you, to receive from you and give you all the information about the next HMT coming. And for you who want to read my books, you should know that you can read all these books for free on Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read all of them for free, basically, almost all of them for free. But if you want to buy the books, you can buy them on Amazon as well. But if you want to buy them cheaper than on Amazon, then you need to write to my office, which is dssbooks@gmail.com. dssbooks@gmail.com. So thank you so much, everybody. It's nice being with you today. Like we said, we are going to be concise and precise and direct to the point, and then, so that people who don't have data will be able to watch us. We'll see you tomorrow. Blessings.